name is Autumn Sawville, and I will be walking you through my slide presentation of plants and their life cycles. So the first slide, what is a plant's life cycle? There are four stages that I broke down that I thought were the most important. First being the seed, then second, germination, the third being growth, and then the fourth being reproduction. And then if you go and you click on the first area of seeds, you will see a slide that has 5 different seeds on them. This is just a little image for you to get a better understanding of what that would look like. Then the second, germination, click on that. That should take you to the next slide where you have the different stages of what a plant goes through before it starts reproducing. Then the third being growth, that is just a better view of what it looks like once it has reached outside of the soil or the dirt or whatever you have planted your seed in. This is where it starts to grow leaves and when it starts to bloom flowers. And then reproduction. This slide kind of breaks down the seed, the flower, the stem, and all of the things that it makes to be able to reproduce the next generation of flowers or whatever plant. Going to the next slide, what happens when plants get sun? So there are 6 different things. 2 points are going to be why we need the sun. 2 are going to be what happens when there's too much sun, and then 2 are going to happen when there's too little of sun. So the first one, why plants need sun. Photosynthesis is one of the main things that I think any plant goes through. The plant will take the sunlight to produce their own food and energy. So without the sun, they want to be able to produce their own food, to be able to grow and thrive. What happens when there's too much sun? Leaves can dry out or burn. This could turn them brown or crispy. So during the fall time, that's what I always think about. When they're on the ground and you step on them and they crunch, this happens because they are no longer getting the sunlight they need and they are starting to brown and crisp. The third box, what happens again if they get too much sun? The plants could lose too much water, which would cause them to wilt. So have you ever seen a brown stem with flowers that are dying on top of it that don't look as colorful, as lively as they did when they first bloomed? This is what happens again when too much sun happens to them though as well. So you have to find the perfect balance of getting a good amount of sun during the day but not heating the plant to where it could burn. But then looking when it happens when there's too little of sun, the plant will become tall and weak. So when it's like super high but it's very flimsy, it's not as sturdy. This is what happens when it's trying to act like it's trying to get closer to the sun. So it's getting taller and it's trying to spruce up so it can reach the sun. Another fact when it happens when there's too little of sun is plant leaves could start to turn yellow and the plant could stop growing as well. So this is just another thing that happens when the sun isn't getting that food production and the energy it needs to be able to keep the natural color. And then one more fact about why we need sun to kind of wrap up sun. Sun helps plants grow strong with their stems and then to also produce healthy leaves. Now we've covered the topic of why plants need sun, but another main topic of helping plants grow is rain. So what happens when plants get rain? One of the reasons why plants need rain is rain provides water, obviously. Plants need water to grow and make their own food supply, so still tying back into sun, they also get their food supply from rain. What happens though if the plant gets too much rain? The soil the plant is growing in can become waterlogged and the roots of the plant could start to rot. And then another fact, if it gets too much rain, the plants lose oxygen in the soil and stop growing properly. So this is when you would stop seeing growth coming from the plant and it has stayed the same height for a very long time, not reaching its full life cycle. That is because probably the plant has lost oxygen. But what happens if it gets too little of rain? The plant can dry out, and this will cause it to wilt because it's not getting enough water. Another one is leaves may turn brown or fall off. The plant might die without moisture. So it's again, same kind of thing with sun. Too little can cause them to also turn brown and to also fall off and to not have enough moisture or energy to keep producing the plant. And then to wrap up rain, another fact about why the plant needs rain is rain helps move nutrients. So water carries the nutrients from the soil into the plant's roots. So when it is staying dry, nothing is moving the nutrients to the plant to have it get soaked up and to gather its food supply. So without that, there would not be anything else. And that sums up my presentation. Thank you.